Welcome to Match Fishing Masterclass. You join me today at the beautiful Moorlands Farm Fishery in Kidderminster, where we're going to be filming a Fisher Mania qualifier. So we're going to be making our way around the fishery, but our host for today is going to be Simon Richardson. Simon's drew peg 54 on Meadow. Meadow's the biggest lake on the complex and it's a good peg. However, the pegging is very, very tight on that lake. So there is some other people dotted around the complex that are on good pegs and they've got some room. So we'll be keeping a close eye on them as well, and I'll be giving you a little talk about what they're doing and how they're getting on. So my favourite for today, I've got two anglers. I've got Craig Edmonds, who's on one of the smaller lakes, but he's got an awful lot of room. I've got Aidan Mansfield, who's on peg 4 on silver, which has got a lot of smaller fish in that lake, F1s, and Aidan's got, I think he's got 2 spare pegs to his right, so he'll be very, very dangerous off that peg, because that'll suit him, fishing for smaller fish a lot quicker. And then there's another good peg on Moors, I think it's called, and that's peg 12. It's a disabled peg and that's always got some room down to the right, so we'll be keeping a close eye on that peg. There's also a lake called Bank, and Dave Brown, who's done a feature for our channel, he's drew peg 8, so I quite fancy him to qualify off that as well, although the pegs around him are also good. So anyway, we'll head over to Simon Richardson now and see if he fancies his draw.
Morning, Simon Richardson here. I'm out with Rikki Richards today. We're here at Moorlands Farm, peg 53 on Meadow for today's Fisher Mania qualifier. Decent area, tight pegging. We can only help, but we're going to give it the best shot anyway, and hopefully we can put a few fish on camera for you, get a bit of action. All the best, boys.
So that's the all in. Just got Si cleaning his glasses off. But as you'll hear today, guys, it's quite a windy day, so if there is any camera shake or anything like that, or any noise, I do apologise now, but hopefully there shouldn't be too much. Looks like Si's just starting on a short pole.
You've what, dropped it on a fish?
Huh. Johnny just tried to mug a carp straight away on a short pole, but he's spooked it. But it looks like he's just hooked one. Yeah, so that's Johnny R from peg 52 on Meadow. Into an early carp. It's coming through Richo's peg.
Ain't you?
Just having a little moan about his elastic being a bit light. He hasn't been here for a while and the fish have grown a bit. Looks like he's using a 12 to 14 matrix slick, which he might need to step up a bit later on. Lovely elastic, but maybe a bit light for these big fish.
Good fish as well.
But over on the opposite bank, on peg 12, we've got Andy Christie, who's into an early carp. Looks like he's hooked it fishing shallow. Yeah, that's a nice fish. It's about 6 or 7 pound. So it's not started off too badly.
Sometimes these things have to be done, Johnny. I'm getting tiny fish bites short.
Richo's followed suit with Johnny fishing shallow. Not fished too long, looks about 7 or 8 metres. Just slapping. But over on the other bank, yet again, Andy Christie into another fish. Yet another carp. Very similar size to the last one. So I think he's going to be our early leader. Especially on this lake. Meadow's the biggest lake out of all the lakes. We're back with Si now, and he's managed to snare one, but this time on the short pole. If you can hear in the background, we've got quite a lot of seagulls over the meadow lake. When the guys are fishing shallow, these seagulls, they're swooping down for the pellets, and it can make shallow fishing quite hard because the carp spook. Si's just taking his time.
It's an F1, that is, Johnny.
Because every fish is going to count today, I think.
It's a big old F1.
Nice big fish.
I honestly thought that was a 5 or 6 pound carp.
That was actually an F1 what Richards just had. Absolutely massive thing. Moorlands Farm, for anyone that has never been there or doesn't know the place, it's one of the oldest commercials in the country. And all these boys, like Si and Johnny, that's where they cut their teeth. Si's just up to another one. Yeah. By the way he's playing that, looks like another big fish. Although the wind is really bad today, it might play into the guys' favours with the fish gaining confidence. Although can't see it being brilliant all over the complex just because of how tight the pegging is. There's a few people with quite a lot of room.
Nah, it's a little car.
Especially over on Island Lake, which is not so much of a big...
Smaller than the F1.
Big lake, but they've still got quite a lot of room. Just behind us, we've got Craig Edmonds, who's just landed a carp now. And as I was just saying, Craig is on peg 17 on Island. But as we move back over to Meadow, Richo has got another fish on. So he's certainly going to be up there now on the meadow. Nicely building a white. Another big fish by the looks of it. Nice.
Looks like it, doesn't it? Might be a couch on time, hadn't he?
It's just started raining. But on the other bank, again, Andy Christie. It's into another fish this time. Looks like an F1. Just to Andy's right. He's got quite a lot of room. He's on like a point, fishing into the bowl of meadow. That's a good draw today, that is. Really good draw, and he seems to be putting it to good use. Even though he's in a good area, still needs to catch them. Just feeding some bite down his edge, priming it for a bit later on probably. But back to Richo now.
Right, well, we're an hour and a quarter into the match now. It's very slow going. Johnny Arthur has had a few fish on my right. We've got 2 or 3. I've had a couple of carp and a big F1. There's nothing really happening. There's no pattern to anything. It's an odd fish here and there. There's a few cruisers about. People with a bit of room have got 1 or 2 more fish, but nobody at the moment's running away from it with it on this lake. So just a matter of just keep peeling into it at the moment and hope that a few rock up. But at the moment it's catch one while you can and just keep moving about until you get some sort of a pattern going, and hopefully get a nice run of fish, because there's some big fish in this lake, as well as F1s and smaller carp. And it wouldn't take long to build a weight if they do rock up, but there's plenty of time yet. Alright.
Johnny into another one.
Johnny's found another one.
John's still fishing shallow, but this time on a long pole, although the wind's quite bad. And that's nicely done. What I've noticed is he stepped his elastic up straight away to what looks like the 14 to 16 slip. So, no messing around. As you can hear in the background, the wind's quite bad.
How big was that, Johnny?
But over on the other bank now, we've got Mark Wakefield on peg 17. Just landed a nice fish. But next to him, we've got Dave Lloyd on 18. He's fishing the bomb. And he's just hooked. It looks to be a nice car.
You couldn't beat it, could you? Catch everything as well. Yeah?
Just taking his time with him. Oh, it
Oh,
looks like an F1.
the Avid pot it was in that feature, wasn't he?
Yeah, okay.
I was telling Ricky the other week about when I burnt that fish off. When I burnt the line off at 17.5 metres.
Oh, oh yeah. That's all about.
There we have. Safely in the net. Well done, Dave. Coming back onto this bank now.
Whoa!
Back with Richo.
That got to be hairy for a second.
Looks like this fish is running him ragged. There we have it. Safely in the pan. Looked like that fish was foul up to me then.
Wasn't the intention, but the result was the same.
Well, there you go, just confirmed it. The fish was foul looked, but they all count.
Right, we're 2 hours in now. It's fishing very hard. As far as I can make out, round about 35, 40 pounds winning the match at the moment. It's very quiet in this area. I've got 4 fish, probably 17, 18 pounds. I think Johnny Arthur's got a little bit more than me at the moment. And there's not a lot happening at all. There's 1 or 2 fish being caught opposite now, but not brilliant. No, so nobody's running away with it at all. It's quite evident that they're not interested in feed. There's no response whatsoever. There's no liners or anything at the moment. It's just a matter of trying to put something in the net. I've had a little look on the bomb for 15 minutes. Was hoping for a bite on that, but that's not happened either. So it's just a matter of plugging away. There's an odd cruiser coming past that we're trying to nab hold of, but they are odd ones and most of them are coming through quite quick, so waiting game at the moment, I'm afraid. Just got to hope that some rock up and decide to have a feed, because at the moment it's not the best. Always going to be tough with tight begging, especially with the standard of anglers that are fishing these matches. If you've not got that bit of extra room, it really makes it hard, because you just cancel each other out. And unless it's a proper bagging match, there's a lot of luck involved really, because just a few extra fish in your area, get you them extra couple of bites that'll make the difference. But we'll keep plugging away.
What we're going to do now is just move up to Silver Lake. And on peg 31, we've got Jake Foals, Sonia baits. Seen Jake foul up a few fish. It looks like he's having a frustrating day. But on the opposite bank, directly opposite, we've got Mark Roger on peg 16. Mark looks to be into a fish. There's a lot of F1s in this lake, lot of smaller fish, but there is more of them. Do fancy this lake to either win it today or throw up a few framing places. Got some good anglers on this lake. Just moving down from Mark, We've got Griff on peg 12, so this is Mark Griffiths into a fish. Looks like Griff's just fishing short pole and probably fishing pellets on the hook or in a band. Just a little F1 there. Just have a look, yeah, and he's fishing a pellet as I thought. Just a little band. He's feeding pellets down his edge. Yeah, as we thought, he's fishing just a top kip plus like half a section, so maybe 3 metres in front of him, 2.5 metres. But moving down the bank, we've got one of my favourites, Aidan Mansfield on peg 4. As I said at the start, he's got a bit of room to his right with peg 2 not in, and it looks like he's making the most of it. Just got a fish on at the moment, but it is really, really windy up here. I'm having to put my hand over the mic just to try and stop it catching the wind. There we have it, safely in the net. Just stay with Aidan for a few minutes. Just see what he's doing. Just feed him some pellets on a short pole. Oh, it's just hooked another one. And he's feeding maggots as well. Looks like it's feeding maggots at about 5 metres. Look like white maggots to me. What? Another fish, just asked us how it's fishing. I've just given the signal to say no one's really running away with it, and there we have it, another fish. So he's still definitely my favourite for today. With that wind hacking down into this corner and peg 2 not drawn, you put an angler like Aid on a peg like this, is going to be very hard to beat. But in a second, what we'll do, just move down the bank. Oh, he's just lost it. We'll move down the bank, try and get a different angle on it, see what he's doing. Just in the background, you can see Chris Elliott on peg 6. He's got a fish on, so he's obviously catching a few. But I've just moved out to a shallow line now. It looks like it's solid. Aidan's using that elastic, what John was, that orange matrix, I think it's 12 to 14. You can see it's coping with these fish much better than it was with John's. Because them fish down on Meadow, where John Arthur is, they're much bigger than these what Aid will be catching. These fish on this lake will be like £1, £2 average. Just slapping it over a couple of times, and there you go. He doesn't mess about. He does not mess about. When he's on fish, he's absolutely scary. Fair play to him. Just stick with him for another minute or so. Hopefully catch just one more. And then we'll move back down past Meadow Lake where Soy is. And we'll make our way up to one of the top pools called Bank. Just walking past Meadow now. We've got Phil Moore. Phil's on peg 4. Looks like a big F1 there. Knowing how Phil fishes, he would have caught that short either on a top kit or just down his edge. But just behind him, we've got Danny Ludgate on peg 10 on the middle lake. Middle's the smallest lake. It's only got 6 anglers on this today. They've all got a spare peg either side of them. Oh, he's into a fish there. Not a massive fish. Just fishing down his edge. Yeah, it looks like an F1, about probably 2.5 pound. Looks like he's got a worm bag by his right foot. So he's probably fishing worms on the hook. Probably feeding casters or something down the edge. But over on Bank now, it's one of my favourite lakes. We've got Zoltan Larry and peg 7 on the bank. Really good area. It looks like he's fishing a bomb and pellet maybe. But peg 8 was one of my favourites. Dave Brown. But this is the next peg 2, peg 7. But in the opposite corner, you've got Danny Squire on peg 26. Just landed a nice F1. By the looks of it, it's fishing long, shallow. But Danny's got some room to his left, as Jamie Hughes qualified the match before, so that peg was drawn for Jamie for some reason. I don't know why, because he's already qualified. But looking through Danny's pole, we've got Des Ship there just casting out. It's on peg 22. But just behind us, if you look, we've got James Cook on peg 20. James has just hooked one. So I think with Zoltan Larry catching a few on that bomb, there's a couple of anglers following suit. Although it doesn't look like Des is catching, you can never count that man out, I tell ya. But on the opposite bank, Zoltan Larry's just hooked another one on the bomb and pellet. So Aidan Mansfield's catching up on silver, but there's also some fish being caught up here on the Bank Lake. There we are, safely in the net. Another nice fish. And in this lake there is some nice carp. See Dave Brown on peg 8 there next to Zoltan. But again on the opposite bank, we've got Joe East, who's into a fish. Joe's on peg 25. I actually drew this peg last week on an open match. Nice peg. Caught some fish on a short pole on some pellets. It looks like Joe's probably fishing the same line I was, to be fair. Look at the depth of that rig. Nicely done, well done, Joe. But yet again, on the other bank, Zoltan Larry into another fish on the bomb and pellet. I tell you what, it could be dangerous here. on peg 7 on the bank. Just watch him land this fish. To be fair, he's probably picked a good method there today. The bomb and pellet, with it being quite windy, to present a pole rig's quite hard. So with that bomb and pellet, you're putting a static bait on the bottom, firing some pellets out, casting that bomb right into the pellets. Just fishing a nice steady match. You've not got a pole waving above the fish's head. You're not struggling, real comfortable way of fishing. Nice, well done. Fishing a real tidy match, yet another carp. So Aiden's catching quick up on silver. He's only catching smaller fish, £1, £2 fish. Whereas these, what he's catching, are like £5, £6 a chuck. So the match is still open, really. Still open. Not even changed his pellet there. I like that. Just chucking it out to the middle of the lake. What he's got opposite him is probably the only feature on the lake. So it's a round lake with just one aerator in the middle. Just skip over, have a look at that aerator now. There we have it. And it's a fish holding feature. But behind us, again, Craig Edmonds, peg 17 on the island. Craig's got that room to both his right and his left. Not really a good area of the lake, but on a match like this, you give someone like Trig a bit of room and he's going to be dangerous. Fair play to him. I've heard he's catching, and I've seen him catching a few. Back over on the bank now. We're looking at Des' ship. As I said earlier, you can never count Des out. I'm sure he's on his light surge now. Looks like he's into a carp, judging by that elastic. That elastic's the new Preston Duraslip, the white one. It's not actually out yet, but it's rated at a 13. So, judging by how much of it's out, I would say Des is fishing down his left hand edge, and he's into a carp. Really, really smooth. He never seems to rush Des. Just takes it slow. Oh, nice fish. And you don't need many of them to catch up. Nice fish. Look at the depth of the rig. Looks like it's quite deep. So I'd say he's fishing down to them reeds on his left hand side, but next to him, again, James Cook on peg 20. Just landed another fish on the bomb. He keeps looking over at Des, as if to say, come on then. Oh no. It's quite a big fish though. So James quite fancies it on that bomb. But up in the corner, I'm going to move the camera over now to Rich Chapman on peg 4. Rich just landed a nice carp, fishing down his edge to his right hand side. He's on peg 4. Peg 2, as I said earlier, was drawn out last night for Jamie Hughes, but Jamie's already qualified, so that peg's basically gone to waste. It's a very good peg as well, peg 2 is. But it's obviously give Rich some room now down to his right hand side. which you didn't really need, to be honest. It's peg 4's a good peg. But back over now to Rikki Richardson. Oh, perfect. Just took to fish on a short pole. Just taking his time with it. Again, so it's dead smooth, but he doesn't mess about with his gear. Looks like he's fishing the orange Vespi elastic. I know he does like his Vespi elastic, so that's rated to about 16, I think. He's not messing around. This where Si is quite a fancied area, to be honest. But with Johnny Arthur on peg 52 and Andy Benwell on peg 54, they are really, really tight here, and it's going to be difficult to compete. However, very good anglers, you can never count them out. Richo would have normally had this in, but the magnitude of these matches, you've got to take your time, because every fish will count. And there you have it, nicely in the net. Well done, Si. Like a carp, about £4. Big handful of maggots down the edge. No potting them, get them in. Just picking a pellet out. Just going to fill his cup with 4 mils, look like. Chip them out into short pole. Be interesting to see where he tips them from. And he's tipped them in high, so what he's trying to do there is create some noise, drag fish into his peg. But looking over to Si's left, Andy Benwell into a fish. Andy's on peg 54, next peg to Si. He's had quite a slow day, to be honest. He has struggled, but it's nice to see him catching some a bit later on. Back to Si, into another fish. This is turning out to be a proper battle now. Go on, Si. Back to Andy. Well done, Andy. He's landed that fish. Looks like a nice fish to me. Again, Andy's fishing with a cad pot on, so he'll be doing exactly the same as Si, I think. What Si has got to his advantage is he's tipping his pellets in from quite high. So he's making, in effect, the noise where you'd be throwing them. But back to Si, he's still got that carp on. If you look, he keeps looking down his edge. That's what he's probably most well known for, to be honest. Richer, edge fishing. Oh, his elastic's just wrapped around his rod. That's not going to be good if the fish... Oh, God. Oh. If that fish runs, he's not going to be able to follow it out. He needs to get that unwrapped from around that rod. Now it's over his... Oh, God. It's not going to end well. Well done, Si. Well done. If you look now, that elastic has wrapped round the end of his butt of his rod. So if that fish run out then, he wouldn't have the chance. Say it's not coming off. He wouldn't have the chance to follow the fish out with some pole, because that elastic was wrapped around his rod. He's untangled it now. He's having a look down his edge. He's gagging to go down there. I know what he's like. I think we'll just stay here for just the end of the match. There's not long left now. Again, just filling up that pot. 4 mils. Shipping them out. He might try and sneak them in now. No, tipping them from height again. With doing that constantly, you've got a chance of foul looking fish. Another handful of maggots. He's checking the time. He knows there's not long left. Over to John now. He's just hooked one. Doesn't look like a massive fish. There we are, safely in the net. Looks like an F1. John throwing bait out his hand. Quite difficult to do with all this wind today. He's fishing shallow. So you've got 2 anglers to the left. Andy Benwell just hooked another fish to John's left, John and Si's left. And Andy has actually got a spare peg to his left hand side. Oh, it's just a little more room. Might not be a spare peg, might just be a little more room, but it looks like he has got a little gap there. And this fish looks foul. If you look at the elastic when he lifts it up, you'll see it wobbling around, and that's the hook stuck towards the back end of a fish. And as the fish waves its tail, or its fin, it'll wobble the elastic. Well done, in the net. Only a small fish. Moving back over to Richo now. Just swapped his rig and he's going to have a go down the edge. Hopefully he's seen one down there and he can end on. Nice big fish. Not long left of the match now, literally a minute or so left. He might just be able to nick one. Great big bunch of maggots on there. Look at the concentration in his face. Is he going to get one? He'll be praying for that to bury now. Oh, and that's the all out. Well done, lads.
Rikki!
Grant!
Rikki!
And there's the new owner of Moorlands Farm, Grant Talbot.
Close to an error, but 51.6.
51.6.
You want a photograph?
Not loud, am I? £78.10.
Ooh.
I said.
You said 80. Fucking lying bastard.
Language,
What did you weigh?
78.
78 for Johnny.
Done him, Rikki, or what?
Well, if I've had it up, right, yeah. Simon Richardson.
This used to be my favourite peg, this.
Really?
54, 55, 56. Used to have an aerator out there. We're gonna actually, I want to try and put them back where they used to be. About 3 down the lake, like, be nice.
He smashed it, you are.
£9 dead.
£9, was it?
Yeah.
That's not his final weight, by the way.
Right, here we are again. Just weighed in. It's been a testing day, but managed to sort a few out in the end. I had a really nice steady 4th hour. Last hour was a little bit iffy. Conditions got nasty, the wind turned really rough. Made it awkward for everybody, but ended up with £106, which I believe has won the lake. Young Johnny Arthur a little bit of a lesson. He's had £78, but we won't say no more about that. I believe that Aidan Mansfield is the best weight so far. I think he'll win it. He's had £163. I'm just disappointed that I haven't had a bit more room, because with some room here today I really believe I would have had a chance. But with every peg being in here, I'm happy with my performance and the result that's come out of it. If I've won the lake, that's the best that I could do on the day, especially with the room that I've had. So back again next week to try again, hopefully have a little bit more room and a bit more of a chance. But other than that, a good day. Hope to see you all soon.
So the match has come to an end, and Aidan Mansfield has gone and qualified with £163 off peg 4 on silver. So at the start, he was one of my fancied anglers, absolutely brilliant angler, and that suited him down to the ground, that peg. So we're going to head over there now to see how he's done it.
So today I've been on Fishing Mania at Moorlands Farm. I've only been here a couple of times before. I've drew peg 4 on silver, apparently a good area and would suit my style of fishing. So I've had a bit of room. I've just set up really simple, top kit in front of me with pellets, down my edge with pellets, and a short line for fishing shallow with maggots. First 15 minutes I've gone in and caught nothing, and everyone else is bagging. And then I went on my shallow line and caught really well for 2 hours. I've probably had £100 after 2 hours, and then the wind's picked up and I've struggled after that, and it's just been the case of picking fish up on my top kit and down the edge. I've ended up with a 90 F1s, 2 carp for £163 I think, and a place in the final. Happy days.